time, we'll call to order the Land Clearance Redevelopment Authority for the City of St. Louis for its regularly scheduled meeting held on Tuesday, December 14 at 3 p.m. May we have a roll call, please?
Marvin Anderson, not present. Commissioner Spencer,
Present.
Commissioner Jones,
Present.
and Chair McBride.
Present.
And the motion passes. You have a quorum with 3 present and 1 absent.
Thank you. Well, it's okay. We'll take approval of the minutes for November 1, 2023. May we have this time entertain a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Spencer,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Chair McBride.
Aye.
Motion passes with all voting yes.
Thank you. All right, we'll take up resolution 23 LCRA 10-818.
Actually, can we skip to one? We have a speaker that might have to leave shortly.
Oh, that's fine. Yes.
Yes. Can we go to 10-825 resolution?
10-825. Very good. Then at this time, we'll take up resolution 23 LCRA 10-825 relating to taxable industrial revenue bonds for the Marquette scattered sites.
Yes, this is the second step in the designated developer. This board has seen this project multiple times already. This is the second leg of the designated developer. This is the issuance of taxable industrial revenue bonds. This resolution approves that. The designates LCRA designated Marquette Homes LP as developer with that resolution 10-812. Again, this is 15 years of tax abatement, 10 at 90 followed by 5 at 50, 60 apartments, many 3 bedrooms, which the city desperately needs. 50 units will be a 60% AMI. 2 major buildings in South City that we desperately need renovated, one on Merrimack and one on South Grand, the Melba Theater. Mark Speicherman's on the call to kind of walk you through this resolution. And I think that's all we have on speaking on this one.
Thank you. Mr. Speicherman, would you please walk us through the remainder of this resolution?
Thank you. As Zach mentioned, this is the second step in the approval process when we do these sales tax exemptions. This approves the final forms of the bond documents and lease and SPAC transaction that facilitates that sales tax exemption. Similar to other projects, the developer will have to provide a documentation how they use the sales tax exemption certificate so that we can gather data on the matter. Happy to answer any questions. As Zach mentioned, though, it is 15 years tax abatement. Years 1 through 10 at 90, and years 11 through 15 at 50, and that was all approved in part of the prior resolution of the board.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Speicherman?
Just to note that the photo, the second photo, and the one on the bottom is the Merrimack. Yeah, you changed it. We're good.
Yeah.
Got Minnesota on there before. Somebody quick with their keyboard.
Good job, Sarah.
Very good. If no further questions, then I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 23 LCRA 10-825.
So move, request a previous roll. Second.
Moved and seconded, the previous roll requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, motion passes and the resolution is approved. Zach, any other speakers or anything else we're taking out of order?
No, we can go down the rest of the agenda.
Very good, thank you. Then we'll take up 23 LCRA 10-818 relating to 4627 and 4635 Ridgewood.
Yeah, this resolution is amending the redevelopment plan and board bill, not redevelopment plan of section 8 of the tax abatement amount. This ordinance was originally passed in 2020. The ordinance called for 10 years of tax abatement. The owners of the property very nice detail there. The owners of the property apply for the LIHTC program for affordable housing. So this will be a senior building at 50% AMI for 273 units. 267 of the units will be 1 bedroom, 6 will be 2 bedroom. The issue is our policy in the past has allowed for 15 years of tax abatement for those who apply for this program. Since the owner is applying for this program, we are amending the redevelopment plan to allow for up to 15 years of tax abatement. So we're just trying to make sure all the developers who apply for this program get the same deal. And this is what this resolution is addressing. Mr. McBride, you're muted.
I am muted, thank you. Were there any other developers that had previously applied for this area? Or I guess what I'm asking, is this a solution in search of a problem, or is there something that's arisen that's addressing?
No, the original application didn't take into account of LIHTC. And then they
Gotcha.
didn't start the renovations or apply for renovations so recently, so they have applied for LIHTC, and this lines up with their application with LIHTC. So
Thank you. Any questions for Zach from the other commissioners?
Just a couple of quick ones. One, they're applying this year. They have not received the award, because I know we've seen this in the past.
yes, I believe they are applying for this year. Yes.
And then in the resolution, there was a couple comments about the additional land. Are we approving the tax abatement for future buildings within this redevelopment area, or would they have to come back at a later date?
Where's the portion of the additional land? I'm sorry.
Oh.
This resolution just addresses the 2 buildings and that's it. So if there is a mention of the other land, I definitely would like to amend this resolution to address that.
Yeah, let me go back, and maybe I'm mixing it up with another. Oh. I thought it was this resolution. Let me go back and look at it a little clearer, and I'll get back to
Okay.
you.
Commissioner Spencer, you're prepared to proceed on this resolution?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Zach on this resolution? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 23 LCRA 10-818.
So moved, press previous row.
Second,
Moved and seconded with the previous role requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, motion passes and resolution is approved. We'll move on to 23 LCRA 10-819 for a designated redeveloper for site Merrimack, Compton, Bates, and Grand. Zach?
Yes, this resolution designating Virginia Plaza LP as a redeveloper of the certain area located in the Merrimack, Compton, and Bates Grand redevelopment plan. This, as you do recall, many of you were on the LCRA board back in 2019. We created a large Chapter 99 in the Dutchtown neighborhood. And since then, we've seen many developers step in to address some of these areas within that Chapter 99. DeSales would like to be designated developer for this block and a half of Dutchtown. The proposal calls for 75 mixed income units at a cost of $21.9 million. We're offering 10 years of abatement at 90, followed by 5 years of 50. They're applying for LIHTC. 8 of the units will be market rate, 12 will be 30% AMI, and 58 of the units will be 60% AMI. We got Mike Duffy from DeSales speaking for DeSales. He's with Rolling Oak, I believe. We got Andrew Knopp to go over the scorecard, and Jake Nair to go over the financial scorecard.
Very good. Mr. Duffy, do you have anything else you can add to the presentation, please?
Appreciate the opportunity today. Can you all hear me?
We can.
Great. No, I honestly believe Zach did a great job. I'm definitely available for any questions. I know Becky Reinhardt, who I think many of you know, Executive Director of DeSales, was very sorry to miss this meeting. I sent her apologies, but she's actually in Germany and asked me with her family, and so asked me to sit in for her. But I'm happy to answer any questions. We are both going to be the general contractor on the project. We're also providing consulting services for DeSales to sort of help them through the tax credit application process and the like. So I can pretty much field questions on either score.
All right. Well, first you're going to have to tell me which soccer game Becky's going to while she's in Germany.
I know. I'm not sure, but I know she did.
I think it's Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
Dortmund.
Yeah.
So very good. Let's see here. Any questions for Mr. Duffy from the commissioners?
Mr. Duffy, I've got just a couple quick ones. One, do you have options on these properties now? Do you own any? Are any of them LRA or city-owned properties?
All of the above, Mr. Spencer. So right there in the smack dab in the middle of Block A is a Wayward Family Dollar building. DeSales owns that outright.
Okay.
The yellow buildings to the right are actually the Compton Place apartment community that they've owned and operated for a long time now. There are 12 units in those buildings. And then the corner at the sort of northwest part of that center Block A, that's actually I think an LRA owned former gas station site that they don't currently, that DeSales I think doesn't currently have a site control option on, but they're working closely in securing that. The city's been going through a long kind of environmental remediation on that site. And then across the street there on Block C, they have an option on the middle building. The building to the north there has sort of a note that's in default, and their acquisition strategy as soon as the tax credit awards come out is to probably buy the note and foreclose it out to get that property. And then lastly, the yellow property down at the further southern part of the site is an LRA property that they don't yet have under option.
Okay.
So they're probably about 60% overall acquisition, with a clear strategy on wrapping up the balance of the acquisition as soon as credits are awarded.
And this particular project was applied for with LIHTC in October or November?
That's correct. Yeah.
And then just one other question. I know that Virginia Theater is LRA owned just down the street. Was that considered in maybe a part of this overall project?
I unfortunately don't know the answer to that, Sean. I know that over the past year since Becky kind of took over the organization, she's been focused generally in this neighborhood quite a bit. So I would not be surprised, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah. Just checking and driving down the Virginia so often. South Grand and Virginia, two premier opportunities for development that's needed for some time, and this is great to see some scale up and down Virginia and those surrounding blocks. So good luck.
I agree. Yeah, it's been a long time. Do y'all remember that restaurant Iron Barley?
Yeah,
I do.
It used to be right down there. Yeah, I haven't been there for a long time since that restaurant closed down, but I've obviously been down there a lot over the past year, and I'm pretty excited about it. The theater building, one of the issues that may have come up is, you got this contiguity issue in tax credit projects that can mess up your ability to do mixed income. So that could have been a reason why they didn't end up including it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Duffy? Thank you, Mike. Andrew, can you walk us through the community benefit scorecard, please?
Yeah, I used to go to Iron Barley all the time with my parents, so yeah, I definitely remember that. All right, so obviously a very high score for this. Go through it quickly, 79 points in total, so solidly in tier 3. We are, as Zach said, really awarding this more at the tier 2 level. So starting from the top, all the units are technically affordable at 60% AMI. It is, a mix of income and we talked about 8 market rate, but as far as I understand it, those are still priced at that level. So, and even if they weren't, it's well over 50% at that level and would get this 40 points. Half the parcels are in EGI 3, half in EGI 2. So just be conservative, and because there was plenty of points to go around, I left it in the 10-point category, so EGI 3. 4 of the buildings are vacant, so 5 points for the rehab of vacant property. It's located along the Virginia commercial corridor. We've talked about that and the benefits of kind of revitalizing this section of the corridor. 2 of the properties are LRA, so 5 points for that. The 2 buildings that are being rehabbed are historic. So 5 points for historic preservation. Size of the project gets it 4 points. Solid public transit access, 3 points for being near a bus stop, and they are using outside funds for the affordable housing units, and potentially LIHTC if they get awarded. So 79 in total. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Andrew? All right, hearing none. Jake, can you walk us through our financial benefit, please?
Sure.
Financial impact report.
Sure. The scattered sites here have base taxes of a little under $10,000. We're projecting those to increase to about $35,000 during the 15-year abatement period, and then increasing to about $130,000 after the abatement ends. A little under $22 million in total project costs. Of those, about 16.7 million are hard costs. So as we've mentioned in these meetings previously, the abatement does trigger those MWBE requirements. So based on those hard cost numbers, expect about $4 million in contracts to minority-owned firms and $1.8 million to women-owned firms. We have a total fiscal benefit to the city of $43,000 over 10 years, increasing to $248,000 over 20, and $54,000 to the schools over the first 10 years, increasing to $598,000 over 20. And the incentive value is estimated at about 3% of total project costs, or $725,000. Similar to a previous, I believe it was a DeSales or maybe a RISE project that we did recently, but there is a commercial component to this. But we're very conservative and we just don't model any kind of retail revenue from there. We don't know how long that will stay vacant or who is occupying or if they're even paying market rents or below market rents. So just be conservative. We don't model any additional revenue there.
And even without the additional revenue, it's still scoring fairly highly, correct?
Correct. Yeah. We're just, being conservative all around.
Very good. Any questions for Jake on the financial impact report? Thank you, gentlemen. If there are any other questions from the commissioners? If there are none, I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 23 LCRA 10-819.
So moved. Request for previous row.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Previous role requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, motion passes and the resolution is approved. Thank you, Mike. I'm going to move
Thank you all.
Absolutely. I'm going to move on to 23 LCRA 10-820, scattered sites redevelopment area. Zach, can you walk us through that, please?
Yes, this resolution is declaring the Ben Park West, Fox Park, Tar Grove East scattered sites area to be blighted and approve a redevelopment plan for the same mentioned area. This is a scattered sites redevelopment plan. It's 28 buildings in the Ben Park West, Fox Park, and Tar Grove East neighborhoods. It's basically 71 affordable units that range from 1 to 3 bedroom units. They are applying for LIHTC also, so that's why you'll see the tax payment will be 10 years at 90, followed by 5 years at 50. The cost is a little over $14 million. The key here is all 3 neighborhoods have grown significantly in prices, which the city likes to see for tax purposes, but we also are very conscious about keeping certain units affordable in these neighborhoods also. So this checks that box very much so. So we're very supportive of this type of product in the stronger neighborhoods. We have, I think Mike Duffy's still here to speak for the sales perhaps. And then we have Andrew to go over the scorecard, community scorecard, and Jake to go over the financial scorecard.
Very good. Mike, back to you. Anything to add to Zach's presentation or any further updates on soccer viewing?
Mike just stepped out. This is Kevin Bujek, Mike's business partner. We are actually not involved in this project with the sales.
All right, very good. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah,
Yes,
there was a
all right.
mix up there. I
We'll
apologize.
get you off the hook. And Andrew, can you walk us through the community benefits scorecard then?
Yep. All right. So a little bit less score here, partially kind of because of what Zach touched upon, but still obviously a ton of benefit to this scattered site affordable housing project. So 65 points in total. All units are actually more affordable than the previous project. They're all affordable at 50% AMI. So, you know, a ton of points, 40 points. The sites are also located within a half mile of the current proposed north-south Metrolink route. So, you know, to encourage development along that route, we're awarding points, 9 points for that. Majority of the parcels are in EGI index 4, which gets it 5 points. So obviously a stronger market, and we're adding affordability within that market. So that's a positive 5 points. Buildings are all historic, built from 1884, which is pretty old, to 1923, another 5 points. Size of the investment gets it 4 points, and you know there's going to be outside funding, including CDA funds for this, so 2 points for that. Yeah, answer any questions?
Any questions for Andrew? All right, hearing none, then I will turn it over to Jake for the financial impact report.
Sure. So the rehab of affordable properties is a little bit unique from a financial impact model. Because it's existing operating units, the base taxes here are about $29,000. Projected taxes during the abatement period of $35,000, and taxes of $53,000 after that abatement's over. Here it's kind of important to remember that all we're abating is the increased value due to the renovation of buildings, and so there's just less increment to abate. So we have a 10-year fiscal benefit to the city of about $10,000, and a 20-year benefit of about $49,000, and 10-year benefit to the school of $6,300, increasing to $94,000 after the abatement ends. And again, that's just the additional tax revenue that's derived from them being in a renovated condition versus their current condition. As someone who used to do LIHTC market studies and appraisals quite frequently in a previous life, I can tell you that, you know, 3-bedroom rents of $1,000 in Tower Grove East is extremely affordable. I think as a policy position to protect, you know, long-term affordable housing in this neighborhood is as important, if not more important, than the kind of fiscal impacts on this one. But I am happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And also the as I read your report, the hard cost would have nearly $2 million in minority-owned impacts and over $800,000 in women-owned impacts.
Correct. Those are 24% of hard costs for minority-owned firms and 11% for women-owned.
And we're just dealing with smaller margins, so the revenue impacts are smaller, but the impacts to the people who'd be taking advantages, I think, is outsized. Any questions for Jake on the financial impact report?
Jake, I just want to thank you for pointing that out, because that's when you're talking about affordable housing in areas of opportunity like these 3 neighborhoods, this abatement is going to allow those rents to stay, and you know, at that rate. So it's really important to point it out in the neighborhoods that are growing and stabilizing and improving. So thank you for making that a point of your presentation.
All right, are there any other questions for Andrew or Jake or Zach? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve 23 LCRA 10-820.
I'll move across the previous row.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. The previous row requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, we move on to the motion passes and the resolution's approved. We'll move on to 23 LCRA 10-821, designated redeveloper for 4221 through 4227 Forest Park. Zach?
Yes, thank you, sir. This resolution designating IC Senior Development LLC as developer for 4221 through 4227 Forest Park Avenue. This redevelopment plan was approved by the Board of Aldermen by ordinance 71721 on September 15, 2023. This board have passed the redevelopment plan earlier this year. It's basically 38 units for senior housing. It's receiving LIHTC, and that's why it's receiving 10 years at 90, followed by 5 years at 50. The cost of the project is $10.6 million. We have no one here to speak on the project, so.
Okay. But there are, we still have the community benefit scorecard and financial impact report.
Yes. Get that again. We have Andy speak on-
And has this redeveloper, they had, has the LCRA worked with them previously?
No, this independent center, I believe, has received tax abatement before in the past, but not in my time here at LCRA for the last 9 years. But I can't speak on behalf before that.
Gotcha. All right, Andrew, can you walk us through the community benefit scorecard, please?
Yep, so 68 points here. Again, another affordable housing project. So we get 40 points for 6 units being deeply affordable at 30% AMI, and the rest affordable at 60% AMI. It's within a quarter mile of the Cortex Metrolink station, so great public transit access. 7 points for that. Also located in a stronger market, so good to be adding affordable housing, as well as in location with good proximity to public transit. 5 points for the location. The actual shouldn't actually have the 5 points there for historic preservation, because it's new build. Sorry about that. It's located along the Forest Parkway commercial corridor, so building along the corridor is of benefit. 5 points. Size of the project gets it 4 points, and there's outside funds being used, including LIHTC credits as well as some ARPA money. So 2 points for outside funding. Happy to answer any questions.
So what score would it have been? Should it be awarded?
Really should be 63. So still, solidly into tier 3, and we're awarding something below that anyways.
Okay, any questions for Andrew? All right, thank you. Jake, can you walk us through the financial impact report, please?
Sure. So this property is currently tax exempt, so has base taxes of 0. We're estimating average taxes during the abatement of about $4,300, increasing to $20,000 after abatement. The way the model estimates how the taxes work is based on an income approach. And so these are very affordable units from a rent perspective. And so our tax revenue dollar numbers just stay fairly low throughout here. But based on $10.7 million in total project costs, we're estimating a little under $7 million in hard costs. So that's $1.7 million to minority-owned firms and $758,000 to women-owned firms. There's also a small job creation element to this. I think it's about 2 FTE at about $40,000 annually. So there's a nominal amount of payroll and earnings taxes. We're anticipating new revenue to the city of about $18,000 over 10 years, increasing to $64,000 over 20, and $14,000 to the schools over 10 years, increasing to about $111,000 over 20, and a net present value of that abatement of about $120,000.
Very good. Any questions for Jake on the financial impact report? And this still would score highly even if it didn't previously come off of a nonprofit
It
base,
would,
correct?
yeah. There's always gonna be an increment there, regardless. There's never, it's just a sliding scale.
Correct. All right, any questions for the commissioners to Jake, Andrew, or Zach?
Zach, do you know if they received the LATEC awards last year, or they're just applying again this year?
No, they received them last year. They also received some ARPA funds, I think, from Missouri, I believe. I think that's what they discussed last time they were here.
So
So
this one's ready to get going.
yes, all the way. And to be correction on the Ridgewood one, they did receive credits last time. So I
Oh,
just
good.
wanna-
Yeah. Hey,
So
Zach,
here.
since you just brought that up, I must have misread it. It said that existing land uses within the area include residential buildings, and the objective is to develop the remaining property into residential uses. So that's why
Okay,
there was something else
perfect.
here, but you cleared that up, so thank you.
Yeah, I'd say the sources of funds on this one is a bit unusual. That ARPA grant from the state is a little over 40% of the total project cost. They got $4.5 million from the state ARPA fund for a $10.6 million project.
Is that related to supportive services, or I'm not sure if I've seen an award that big before.
Yeah, it's the state behavioral health center or council. I'm not sure what the HC stands for precisely, but I believe it's one of those two. And yeah, it's related to mission-based housing essentially.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the staff? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve resolution 23 LCRA 10-821.
So
So
moved.
move, request a previous rule.
Second.
Bernard, he beat you to it. It's
He
been
did.
properly moved and seconded with previous role requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. All right, moving on to 23 LCRA 10-822, declaring 2601 Market Street blighted. Can you walk us through this, please?
Yes, this is a resolution declaring 2601 Market to be blighted and approving a redevelopment plan for the same area address. The redevelopment plan would call for 10 years at 75% of tax abatement. The proposed use for this site would be 2 hotels. First hotel facing east would be the Kipton Hotel, and on the western side of the parcel would be Staybridge Suites. There would be 116 full-time employees at the site for the 2 hotels, with a little over $126 million worth of construction development costs for the 2 hotels. There was a hotel study done back in 2019. This site addresses 2 of the things that were called out in that hotel study. One was for more full-service hotels for downtown area, and another one was for the more extended stay hotels for the downtown area also. This would help greatly with the Wells Fargo's training when they bring people from out of town too. I think there's a large market for that. But we have many people here to speak on this. We got Sam from Midas, Estep from Midas. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. And Shayla Meehan from Steadfast. And also Jake to go over the financial scorecard, and Andrew now to go over the community scorecard.
Very good. Let's start with Sam and Shayla. Can you add any more context to Zach's presentation, please?
Thank you, commissioners, and thank you, Zach, for the overview. Obviously, the developer is really excited about bringing the proposed new construction of the Kimpton and Staybridge hotels, bringing that dual branded product to the intersection of Jefferson Avenue and Market Street. The scope of work also includes restaurant components and contemplates a structured parking garage of about 140 spaces. The construction timeline is expected to begin first quarter of next year, and that will be a 23-month construction period. And Sam and or I will be happy to answer any questions.
And can you give more, talk to us about the full service nature of the hotels and the, I believe it's send and stay, or am I announcing the term there?
The Staybridge and the Kimpton. So I can also defer to Sam to step in here and talk through some of the product brands here that the different the Kimpton can offer in the Staybridge. But I believe they will be, different price points. They won't be competing with one another. The Staybridge will include full kitchens, whereas the Kimpton will be your traditional hotel, and the Staybridge will have extended stay.
That's correct, and this is Sam. So these are IHG brand hotels, so that's the Intercontinental Hotel Group. So that's who owns the Kimpton and Staybridge brands, and that's kind of become a popular combination of dual brands for IHG. So the Kimpton is, like you said, a full service, and so that means the hotel has a ballroom, for example, on the first floor, or what we call a ballroom, which is multi-purpose and multi-functional first floor meeting space, full service restaurant, and rooftop space. So the idea being that the Kimpton will generate meeting and group demand, and as Shayla mentioned, the Staybridge would kind of complement that, which is kind of the whole idea with dual brand positioning. The Staybridge would complement that with more of an extended stay. So, stays between 3 and 10 days are on average, but that could be up to 30 days. So kind of
have you done internal review of the survey for the need for this in the market?
Indeed, yeah. So we've had kind of multiple studies and multiple rounds of kind of underwriting when you go through the process with IHG, and for our own need. Because what we're looking at is something that we did a hotel survey to make sure that we're not putting too many hotels into the downtown area. And so we're looking for something that matches up with this. Mr. Wilson indicated that you meet a need identified in the 2019 hotel survey that this board commissioned, that your I guess Staybridge is full service. Is that right? Let me get the
Kimpton is.
Kimpton's full service, and the Staybridge is then what? How does that meet it?
It's called extended stay, basically.
Extended stay.
Yeah, it means that it has it's like a small kitchenette. Kind of, they're all suites basically.
Okay. And this will also be proximate to the new soccer stadium as well, correct?
That's correct, and it will be the first Kimpton, which is kind of a one of the kind of pioneer brands in the boutique space, which is no longer boutique. It's owned by big hotel company IHG, but it'll be the city's first Kimpton, so that's pretty exciting.
Very good. Any questions for Sam and Shayla from the commissioners?
Sam, just a couple of comments and maybe a question. Really love the fact that you're bringing that the Kimpton brand to the corner of Jefferson and Market there. I think that's really an upgrade from what was there before. And you see this service, these two hotels servicing the NGA, and I also just love the complement of the improvements on the infrastructure on Jefferson Avenue, and just investment breeding more investment. Maybe you could talk a little bit about not only just the soccer stadium, but maybe the Wells Fargo connection and NGA.
Yeah, we absolutely believe that the NGA is such a positive story, as we all know. So, we were, apt to kind of hook into that and all of the other positive developments, the stadium, the soccer stadium, and everything that went along with that being huge parts of that storyline. And then some, less exciting, but certainly very needed segments like the extended stay, which serves, training and group business of that nature. And also a neat thing is, so if you have training, you might have extended stay guests at the Staybridge, but they can also have breakout meetings over in the Kimpton, which might be a hotel that, they wouldn't normally maybe pay that price point. So So that's neat. So yes, we see a very, very diverse market segment serving, everything from, transient to vacation, vacationers, visitors to St. Louis. And collaboration has certainly been a part of this project we are implementing with the Brickline Greenway development. We have the Greenway will be right on Market Street. So kind of plan, I'm not sure which picture you guys have here, but right along the boundary of the Market Street boundary, we will have a kind of a multi-purpose bike and walking path. So a lot of neat collaboration with other local stakeholders, kind of leveraging this investment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Andrew, can you walk us through the community benefit scorecard, please?
Yes, if we could flip to it. Thank you. So we end up with 40 points here, which does put it into tier 2. We're not recommending it an abatement level that high. But just to go over the few categories where we get points here. So it is actually located in Economic Justice Index 3 area. It's like right on the edge of that. So it does get actually 10 points. I'm not sure the 9 points came from there. 116 FTE. There will be a lot of part-time workers, but averages out to 116 FTE. So it does create, a significant number of jobs, 9 points. It's right along the, Jefferson, where North-South Metrolink, the current route is planned to be. So 9 points for that future public transit access. Large investment, over 125 million, so 7 points. And it is within, our designated public district area of St. Louis, so creating jobs within that gets it 5 points. So a total of 40. Solid, large project. Location of public transit access. Stuff with some benefit here. Any questions? Happy to answer them.
Any questions for Andrew? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to Jake and the financial impact report.
Sure. So there's a few things I want to point out on this one. But as we've kind of covered here, it's a substantial project, $126 million total investment. So there's some substantial tax revenue generated as well. Those 116 FTE have an average annual wage of about $40,000 after calculating that on an hourly basis. Of the $126 million, we're estimating $84 million in hard costs, which results in $20.1 million to minority-owned firms and $9.2 million to women-owned firms. I think it's kind of important to think about this as it really is 2 hotels plus a restaurant. There's a pretty significant food and beverage projection, about $9 million in taxable sales there annually. So we have total fiscal benefit to the city of $3.9 million over 10 years, increasing to $10.9 million over 20, and $3.7 million to the schools over 10 years, increasing to $16.7 million over 20 years. The base taxes for this site, which I just kind of skipped over there, are currently about $109,000. We expect that to increase to about $472,000 during the abatement period, and then just under $2 million, so $1.8 million between the 2 hotels after the abatement ends. Also with this one, we have a slightly higher developer rate of return than we're used to seeing on projects generally. I think this is a good opportunity to kind of remind everyone that this is adjusted for use. And so we have an incentivized return of 9.2%. We compare those to cap rates for hospitality properties, which are quite elevated compared to like your traditional multifamily or mixed use. So essentially there's higher risk, higher return kind of happening here. So we allow a higher developer return for this type of use. I would also say, since we've kind of talked about general hotel demand as well, we do have quite a large substitution effect for hotel sales. So we use a substitution effect of about 60%. So we are accounting for some of the pieces moving and some, hotel room vacancy moving around a little bit here as well.
Thank you. Any questions for Jake on the financial impact report?
I've got a,
Um,
just a,
Go ahead,
go ahead.
Commissioner Spencer.
So thank you. So is the monetized SID and the TDD values, is that based on a single site SID for this particular development? And then why are they using the PACE funding? Is that just is that to fill the gap, or is it a better interest rate? Always thought that that was a little bit more complicated, a little harder to pull off, and a little bit more expensive.
I would defer to our colleague from Midas, specifically for the PACE question, and perhaps the CID as well, actually.
Yeah, so my understanding, so I've been at Midas for about 8 months, so certainly not new to PACE funding, but Midas, my understanding that Midas has been successful with PACE in the past on multiple occasions, and they do see it as an attractive gap financing. And so I agree with you, Mr. Spencer, Sean. It is a kind of a cumbersome program to utilize. But kind of locking that in, that was kind of locked in early, is my understanding as gap financing.
It's my understanding as well that would be a single site CID, referring to your previous question. And to remind everyone, that goes through the state, and we really have relatively little agency in that lane specifically.
And Jake, and you had indicated the existing tax base for this property is somewhat low. Is that just through lack of use from the existing owner, or what's driven that down?
Sure. So before those buildings were, and Zach may have some more perspective here as well, but before those buildings were demolished, I believe they've been completely vacant for a period of time. And I'm assuming that is reflected in the taxes.
That is correct. They've been not been used for many years, so I can't tell you how many years, but that would show up in the numbers there.
Thank you. Very good. Any other questions to Sam, Shayla, or Andrew, or Jake? Well, we trust that we'll be realizing the tax revenues that have been set out in our financial impact report. That's exciting for the city. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve resolution 23 LCRA 10-822.
So moved. Request for previous roll.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. The previous roll requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. Good luck.
Thank you,
very
Commissioners.
much.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll take up 23 LCRA 10-823, addressing 4800 Goodfellow. Zach?
Yes, sir. This is a resolution declaring 4800 Goodfellow to be blighted and approving a redevelopment plan for the same address. This is about 16 acres, a little over 16 acres on just south of Interstate 70 along Goodfellow. We just released an RFP for this area to request for proposals. We like to kind of adopt a redevelopment plan for this area also while we're doing the RFP to show that the city's committed to redeveloping the site. The site would, the redevelopment plan calls for up to 25 years of tax abatement. So this would have to come back to you once we get proposals to be designated developer once we choose a developer for this site. Again, we have no developer as we speak as of today, but this would be help market the site and for future possible uses. The goal here is commercial, but we're open to other types of proposals. But the key here is to find a commercial use for the neighborhood just north of here. Be happy to answer any questions.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a site that the LCRA has been dealing with for decades now and trying to show it off and get developers. So I think it's good to take this action. But more than just pre-approving abatement for up to 25 years, you know, we need to take some direct marketing. We've been our President Richardson's been out and about across the US at conferences and everything. So I think that's a good start, as well as the new employees that have been brought on to the LCRA and SLDC to execute this. So I'm excited. I also want to see, see this, these developers showing this off to developers so that we can get some traction here. So less of a question, more of a comment. Are there any questions for Zach on this?
It's been a few weeks. Zach, do we have anybody that's shown any significant interest since it was released?
I can't speak. I'm not in charge of the RFP, but Rob can speak on that. Rob.
I have heard of only one entity that may be submitting a proposal, but I'm not sure that it is aligned with our goals for a retail-based use.
Okay.
And we have had a number of inquiries over the years, none of which, well, one of which was for retail-based use, but they couldn't attract the tenants to locate on the site. So that was when it was under option about 4, maybe 5 years ago now. We've had a number of inquiries for non-retail uses, most of which were non-job creators even. So if we ultimately pivot away at some point in the future from retail, it's got to be a major job producer.
Right. And this site, if you remind me, Rob, that it's remediated, but only to a commercial level and not residential.
Correct. There's a non-residential condition or restriction on the property. So it can't be a hotel. It can't be, any other type of residential development.
Thank you.
Very good. Any questions, any more questions for the staff on this? Well, I think this is a great first step. This time I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 23 LCRA 10-823.
So moved. Request the previous rule.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. The previous rule requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. All right, we'll take up resolution 23 LCRA 10-824. Zach?
Yeah, this is a resolution declaring 1902 through 1904 Dodier Street to be blighted and approving a redevelopment plan for the same address. The redevelopment plan calls for a tax abatement of 10 years at 95%, which follows the tax abatement map we approved in 2018, and it's been updated several times since 2018. The developer is Terra Village Investments, who bought the property for $75,000. It's investing $129,000 into the property. There'll be 3 2-bedroom units and 1-bedroom units. One of the units is currently occupied and now remain occupied, and the other 3 units will be renovated during that time. We're very supportive of development in Old North, and we're very excited about this project. So.
Very good. Is there anyone from Terra Village?
No, there isn't.
Okay.
No.
Any questions for Zach? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 23 LCRA 10-824.
So moved. Request previous rule.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. The previous rule requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved, and we're going to give Zach a little break.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take up resolution 23 LCRA 10-826, and Peter's going to talk to us about pre-qualified firms for real estate appraisal.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. So 23 LCRA 10-826 is correct. It's adopting a list of pre-qualified firms to provide real estate appraisal services as requested and as required. I just want to make sure that these three that I'm bringing are very close, very similar. So this one is for appraisal services. Back in September, we released an RFQ for these types of services, for appraisal real estate services, and went through the process of forming a selection committee and evaluating all the responses for this in order to develop a short list of pre-qualified firms to do this as needed. And for example, I mean, this is very specific to appraisal services related to when we might go out and acquire and or dispose of property. This is going to go back to very specifically the land assemblage and pre-development fund that we've been talking about as we go to actually go out and proactively acquire property and then do pre-development activities and then get ready to market them. So this very much relates to that activity in order to not only for our own purposes to make sure that we are providing the right amount, getting an appraisal, but it's also a requirement of the funding source to have an appraisal. So this allows us to engage these firms to complete that a little bit more efficiently. So a couple of things to note, this resolution does not in any way provide a contract for any of the firms on the short list. It does not guarantee anyone any work. It is just a mechanism for us to solicit to these firms in order to provide these services as projects become available. And if you note on the last page there, the list of firms that are recommended for inclusion on the pre-qualified shortlist, there's 4 there. It is of important to note that every firm that responded is on the list. We determined that everyone was qualified that responded to provide these services, so we included all of them in the recommended list of firms. So there was no one rejected of those that responded.
Very good. Any questions for Peter on this resolution?
Peter, just one clarifying question. Are all these 3 resolutions, do they all have to have local offices in St. Louis City? Is that part of your?
So it is not required, but it was evaluated. So yes, I mean, and for the most part, there were some that did apply that did not have, and I want to make sure that I have this correct and make sure it's appraisal, because again, they all kind of blended together. But there was one firm that applied for one of the 3 that was out of state, and they did not make it. So let me see.
Okay.
I want to make sure.
Well, that wouldn't be this list because these all 4 didn't make
Oh
it.
yeah, for sure. But that firm wouldn't have made the list is what I'm saying. And so
Gotcha.
there is one of them that I want to make sure that I'll double check here too as we're talking, but for sure there was one in one of the solicitations that was out of state that we did reject. But I believe for the appraisals, I think it was just these 4, and I don't think anyone was rejected for appraisal services.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions for Peter? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 23 LCRA 10826.
So moved. Correct the previous row.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded with previous role requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. All right, Peter, we're staying with you for 23 LCRA 10827 for real estate brokerage and property management. Walk us through that one, please.
Yes, correct. So very similar. All these, the dates for the solicitations and the selection committee and everything all happened simultaneously. So all of that information is still the same and the intent is still the same in terms of the procurement policies. But we separated the 3 activities because they're very distinct activities. So as opposed to appraisal services, this one for brokerage, relocation, and property management services as necessary. This one is, again, a little bit different. This would be helping us for the brokerage services and maybe making offers on properties that we're looking to acquire, negotiating on our behalf for in whether it be for acquisition or disposition of properties, as well as it becomes necessary for relocation services, depending on the funding sources and the specifics of the project. If necessary, they needed to have relocation service experience, and then also property management in the event that we own property that may needs facilities management, assistance. So that's what this one is for here.
Any questions for Peter on this resolution?
I was, again, just to mention, as far as, unless I will correct myself if I can find evidence of which one we did not select.
Peter, I think I'm looking at the draft minutes. This is David, and I think that it was the appraisals that was supposed to have the out of state one removed, and it looks like they might actually have made it onto the list by accident. Can you double check that?
Yes, I will
Because it may
double
mean that we
check.
need to we may need to go back and amend that appraisal resolution, because it looks like all the applicants were on the list, but I think that the selection committee recommended only 3 out of the 4.
Okay. Yes, I will pull up the minutes and figure that out. So that is, and we'll circle back to that one after we complete this
I
one.
think we've addressed that one. Yeah, okay. Is this one clean, Mr. Meyer?
I'm looking at the draft minutes for brokerage. There should be all firms that responded should be on there, and there were 2. So this one matches what I see. I'll defer to Peter, but I'm looking at the draft. I think that's correct.
Yes, that is my records too. And if I'm looking in the folder of all the submissions and I only see 2. So.
All right, we're staying with brokerage and property management. So any questions for Peter on brokerage and property management? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to approve resolution 23 LCRA 10827.
So moved, request for previous world.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded, previous rule requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. Peter, we going forward or going backwards?
Let's go to the title, the next one for
That's
28.
next. So take up 23
then-
LCRA 10828 for title
Yes.
services.
Correct. Okay. So again, very similar situation, just different services trying to be procured and developing a pre-qualified shortlist for this, just related to title, in order to assist us as necessary with actually the closings and the title insurance, et cetera. And so we tried to separate this out and get the service and pre-qualified shortlist for this service as well. Now, again, looking at it, I'm trying to pull up the information that I have and the minutes here, and I see I am only seeing 2 submissions for title companies that responded, which are the 2 that are identified in this list on the resolution. So this one looks correct. So it looks like David Meyer is correct. I think the issue is on the or the at least misunderstanding or confusion is on the appraisal. So we can go back to that one, but this one looks correct.
Okay, then let's take up 23 LCRA 828 on title services. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, request for previous rule.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded, previous rule requested. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, motion passes and that resolution is approved, but we're going to go back and take up 23 LCRA 10826, correct, Mr. Meyer? Dave, what's the
Yes.
procedure on this?
Let's see.
David, what's the procedure on this?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're very muffled in here. I think you would want to move to reconsider that one and then move to amend.
At this time, I entertain a motion to reconsider resolution 23 LCRA 10826 regarding real estate appraisal.
So moved, request previous rule.
Second.
Probably move in second, the previous rule requested. Any objection to that request? Hearing none, we are reconsidering that resolution. Peter, who are we taking off?
Okay, so I'm trying to go through the to make sure that I have this here correct. I'm trying to go through.
Let me
the
ask you this.
submissions.
Let me ask you
I know,
this.
so I
Is
know
this-
Lockmuir is
No.
local.
Let me talk. Hang on.
I'm sorry.
Are you in a position to answer my question today, or is this something we need to take up at the next meeting?
I think I can address it here within the next
Well,
couple
I
of
need to
minutes.
know though. Well,
So I have it. I have it right here.
okay.
So I've figured out which one does not have a local office. And I want to see when I did not pull up the draft minutes myself. So I want if Mr. Meyer can confirm with me to make sure this is correct with the minutes, but The one that should be removed from the list should be BBG, Real Estate Services.
Yes. That
Okay.
matches my record too.
Now, this time I'll take a motion to amend resolution 23 LCRA 10826 to remove BBG Real Estate Services from the pre-qualified shortlist of real estate appraisal service firms.
So moved. Request a previous rule.
Second.
Moved and seconded, previous were requested. Any objection to that request? Hearing none, the resolution is amended. Now at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended resolution of 23 LCRA 826, still dealing with real estate appraisal firms.
So moved. Request a previous rule.
Second.
Moved and seconded, previous were requested. Any objection to that request? Hearing none, the amended resolution is approved. Okay, so we made it through the agenda. We're on open agenda. I don't believe that President Richardson had anything on open agenda. Any commissioner have anything on open agenda?
No, sir.
Thank you. Then at this time, I would, excuse me, hang on. I note that the next meeting is scheduled for December 12, 2023. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I think we all feel that. Will not indicate who yawned. We are in video though. And thank you all and have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Nice job, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you all. We appreciate it.